Hey everybody, Ross Whitley here talking about setup of what we've got coming on, and all we really know at the moment is Arctic air is coming back, and we're starting to see that now. It takes about 4 to 5 days from Arctic air to work out of the poles and into the lower 48. That process started yesterday, so we're already into that process and on to the next setup. So you can see that happening right here. That's starting to surge south, and we've still got our southern jet stream here working across. We got little disturbances helping to work along that, and that is eventually going to seed moisture out as well. So as this comes down, we'll set up basically a high pressure ridge about here going into next week. That'll force air down like that, and basically what we'll do is we'll create a pinch off flow down in this area where the flow is flowing across. And then the question mark is going to be, where's the cold air? How suppressive is it? Meaning how far south or how far north is this low pressure system allowed to develop based off the boundary of the high pressure system, and then where is it allowed to go? With the winds coming out of the east and northeast, with that Arctic high sliding about the same time as this low pressure is, we'll likely get a little bit of a trough here, just lee side troughing with the winds coming over the mountains like that. So typically what happens is your low develops down here and it wants to slide right toward that trough axis. So if you can get into this lee side trough, then you can get a low pressure system to really blow up here, and then that throws moisture back this way. And as long as this works up the coast, then you get a nice stripe of snow back through here. So that's what we're looking for. It's a really sloppy map, but that's the setup and that's how that happens. You can already start to see what's going on overall as far as the setup goes, but still got a long way to go. So checking out our high-res visibility here across the southeast at the moment, and you can see the cloud cover that's been plaguing the southeast the last couple of days, even more streaming across, and we got a little weak shortwave out here, so that's going to track like that. That should be just enough moisture to throw maybe a couple of showers back this way overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. So if you're along the Gulf Coast tonight, you could run into the cloud cover as well as a straight shower, but for the most part, we're talking about a pretty weak system here. Thankfully, this one is much further south. You can see the low pressure system right there. Much further south than what we had out of the last system that happened on Monday, which actually, I like to say overperformed. We say that when we miss a forecast. But really, in reality, is we missed the forecast. The modeling did not say 3 inches of rain was going to fall, so nobody believed that this wave was going to be strong enough to do that. However, it amplified a little bit more, it grabbed a little moisture, and we missed it. So anyone says a storm overproduced or overdid that, that just means that the models missed it and the forecaster missed it. So yeah, it was just a bad forecast. I thought we were only going to get an inch of rain. We got 2 to 3. So not a great forecast on my end, but I had no reason to believe that we would see any more than that. You can see a cold front starting to work its way in right here, and the good news for that is that we do have a frontal boundary that will progress on through as we get into this weekend, and that is good news across the southeast because it will cut down on the severe weather potential. So let's jump into exactly that, and you can see the beachfront cam there. Sorry about that, but going forward here, we do have some nice weather on the way across the southeast. Thursday and Friday both don't look too bad if you're, say, south of Atlanta or Memphis or Dallas. But here comes our storm system starting to gather its energy around, and we'll pull up our telegraph here, and I'll start to draw. So you can see an area of low pressure here on the frontal boundary like that. And then there's obviously another frontal boundary out here, and that's where the majority of our heavy rain is. So the question will be, does this piece phase with that piece? And if it does, then we could talk about some stronger storms trying to work across. The main concern here would be wind gusts, not tornadoes. Even though there is plenty of shear, we're just not going to have the thermodynamic profile for thunderstorms to really be able to tap into that kind of shear. So more or less, this is going to be a damaging wind event, if anything, and right now it looks mostly like a heavy rain event. So you can see the modeling changing models there, but overall you get the idea, is that we got heavy rain with probably a line of storms that'll develop, and because this is going to basically tilt itself like that and extend back while we're waiting on the next cold front to come in, we could see kind of a parallel band of heavier rain kind of stream across the area. We call that training. The most likely scenario for that would be probably down in this area. So that's where the concern for maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 inches of rain would come in if that were to happen. At the current moment, the heaviest rain is expected to be up along I-10, really across the Tallahassee and the tri-state area. That's probably where we're going to see the heaviest rainfall at the moment. So that is looking at this weekend. That'll clear out. Sunday, the colder air starts to come in. We'll clear the backdoor cold front. We'll clear the secondary cold front is what I should say. It's not a backdoor front, but the second front, we'll clear that as we get into Sunday. And then here comes the cold air all across the southeast. So Nashville, Memphis, Oklahoma City are already cold, frozen in Atlanta. And we'll see those temperatures by Monday morning, even along the Gulf Coast here, dropping down into the upper 20s, and our inland areas across the southeast. So not just inland areas in the Panhandle, but 20s and teens. So even colder than that. Then a very cold Monday, highs in the 30s. And then we'll see what happens from here. As I said, basically what's going to happen is high pressure system sets up, and we're talking Arctic high. No one's escaping. Everyone's cold on Monday and Tuesday, all across the country. The Pacific is going to try to wreck the party here and inject storm system and pinch this off and push this off to the east. That's what's going to try to happen. We'll see if that happens or if this high pressure system can hold firm. But more or less, I think what the GFS is latching onto here is probably the correct solution. These high pressure systems usually just dominate and suppress those storms to the south. So maybe some light precip along the Gulf Coast states, freezing rain, sleet, snow, something like that. But at the moment, I'm not seeing big storm developing and then working up the coast. Not until the storm following. So Tuesday, Wednesday really doesn't look like that big a deal. But as this high starts to slide off to the east and we get another low to develop there, we will have a little more influence to want to lift something off to the north. So I think that is where you're probably worried about maybe snowstorm across the northeast, or probably interior south dealing with some kind of winter storm. It's probably not out of the midweek stuff next week. It's probably toward the end of next week, and that will likely exclude the Gulf Coast. So probably not dealing with freezing rain, sleet, or snow along the Gulf Coast if it is at the end of next week as opposed to the middle of next week. But basically anything beyond Monday is really, I don't know, because we got to see how that high pressure system is really going to set in and how that trough starts to develop. So we're still a couple of days away from really knowing what types of precipits are going to fall where, when that starts to happen, if we have to deal with ice accretion or amounts of snow or sleet or anything like that, or really anywhere across the southeast. Knowing any of those details right now are completely unknown. So got a couple more days to even know if the storm is going to happen. All we know is that there's a chance at this moment, and then we'll see how things play out as we go throughout the rest of this week. But certainly want to be paying attention as we do have that heavy rain risk for Saturday. So watching that first, and then dealing with the cold on Monday, and then we'll see what we have as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday.